because something struck me as we've been talking about dealing with the past and getting away from the past. Something struck me in these passages is that Jesus is an anti-past. Okay, some of y'all missed that because some of you feel like, and we said this before, that whenever something is changing, whenever you're being pushed to change, come on now, can we just a real church, can we just be real? Doesn't change feel like an indictment of the past? Like when somebody tells you you need to do something different, or you need to change the way that you work, or you need to change your outlook on life. Come on now, there's a part of me that takes it a little bit personal because I feel like it's a slight against me. And Jesus is saying, no, there's a time and a place for you to move on, but watch this, in order for us to move on, you've got to be able to maintain your credibility. Okay, y'all missed it. He says, no one puts new wineskin in the old wineskins, for the new wine would burst the wineskins, spilling the wine, watch this, and ruining the skins. That bugged me out because I'm all about change. Let's move forward. Let's get rid of the old. But Jesus seems to have a sensitivity to paying attention to the past. Did you notice that he says, you need new wine, it needs to be in new wineskins, but the reason why you don't put new wine in old wineskins is one, it's not responsible. We talked about that last week. It's not responsible because you're going to miss out. You're going to waste this new thing that God is doing. But he does say also that you don't put the new wine in old wineskins, not just because you'll be irresponsible with the new, but he says, but you'll do some damage to the old. Man, we got to deal with that. Because sometimes we're in such a hurry to move on that we forget to reflect and in some cases protect the integrity of the past. That's why Black History Month was so important. Because even though we needed to shift, and we're still making shifts, and we still need to move forward, what Woodson understood was we've got to start something so that as we're receiving this new wine, we don't do damage to the past by removing and eliminating the stories of those who've made contributions. Jesus says, yeah, you need new wine. He says, yeah, I want you to have something new. I want you to shift. But the reason why I don't want you to put the new wine in old wineskins is not just so you can protect the new wine, it's also that you don't damage the old skins. Can I talk to my young folks? I feel like I'm qualified to say this now because I got a little gray on me. Don't be so hurried to rush into the future that we forget about the shoulders that we stand on who brought us over. That's a good place right there to just clap. Don't be so hurried. See, Jesus, he seemed to have this sensitivity to the fact, well, I want you to do something new. I don't want the new thing that I'm giving you to compromise the old thing that I've done in your life. Jesus is sensitive to the fact that, yeah, I want you to have this new wine, but I'm telling you not to put it in the old skins because it will damage and tear apart. See, here's where I got this from, and here's where I had to wrestle with this, because anytime you walk around doing damage to the stories of the past, you ruin your credibility. See, think about, and again, I'm going to talk to everybody, but specifically my young folks. Listen, because y'all know me, I'm real. I'm going to tell you exactly how the world works. I told you I'm not going to preach you. I'm just going to tell you a couple of stories. We're going to talk about what Jesus said. But can I tell you how the world really works? And we're seeing this more and more today. Because you remember I told you that at some point in your life, you're not going to be able to continue to get over with, I meant well. Nobody else is going to tell you that. They're going to tell you be spiritual and say, God knows my heart. Can I tell you, outside of these doors, the world don't care about how much God knows your heart. At some point, you have to move past just living off of your intentions because you will be judged not by your intentions, but by your decisions. I know you meant well, but come on, young people, at some point, you see this all across the news because the one thing that happens, watch this, when people get themselves into trouble, no shade, we all make mistakes, but here's why I talk about protecting your credibility, because at some point, when you find yourself in a situation, the first thing that they're going to do is go back and look at your history. I'm not going to get a whole lot of amens, but I'm preaching the truth right now because I just got to let you know that the decisions that you make and the way that you live your life and the fact that nobody's going to be willing to let you get along in life just by saying I meant well, at some point your credibility will come into play. At some point, what you've actually done with your life. That's why Jesus says, I want you to have something new, but in the process of doing something new, don't mess up your credibility. Because at some point, what will be called into question is, what have you done? Not just what are you doing? Man, that's a hard lesson to learn, but I feel like I got a little bit of seniority on me now, so now I can preach to our young people, not just our young people, maybe even some of our older people, but can I just say this for my young people under the sound of my voice? If they're in teenage ministry or promised land, get this message and make sure they understand that in the process of you moving forward in your life, do everything that God wants you to do everything that God has called you to do, but Jesus was very clear that you need to be sensitive about what might come up later. You've got to be able to establish, watch this, some credibility. And it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. We see this in the news all the time. What people are going to want to know when it comes down to it, young people, are you credible? This is good teaching right here because this is going to save you from a lifetime of regrets and a lifetime of heartache because I'm just going to let you know the world don't care that God knows your heart. What they want to know is, when push comes to shove, have you done some damage in the past that damages your credibility?